Welcome back to the program. The World Bank has reportedly postponed its decision to lend Tanzania $500 million following pressure from civil activists. The loan, which the bank's executive board was due to vote on Tuesday, has divided opinion in the country over plans to use part of it to offer alternative education to teenage mothers. Pregnant schoolgirls are by law banned from returning to school after giving birth. They can only pursue other forms of education like vocational training. The colonial-era law contains a clause that allows the authorities to expel pregnant girls from school. The World Bank has now announced that the loan was intended, among other things, to help such girls access alternative education pathways. But Tanzanian activities wrote to the bank to argue that approving the loan would be endorsing the discriminatory policy of keeping pregnant girls away from school. They said that the law had been given a new lease of life by President John Magufuli's government, and officials had been overzealous in implementing the controversial clause. A three-day diaspora technical exchange program has started in London, United Kingdom. Delegates from the Nigerian in Diaspora Commission, drawn from key departments and units, are attending the technical exchange program to upscale skills and competencies in understanding key global concepts of diaspora, migration, and development policy. The program is sponsored by the International Center for Migration Policy Development and has experts drawn from the African Foundation for Development, UK-based consulting organization with firm bias on diaspora-related issues. Now, the key objective of the technical exchange is understanding of notable key global and regional policies that have direct bearing on diaspora, migration, and development. Now, the UN Humanitarian Office says it has released $10 million from its Central Emergency Response Fund to scale up its response to the devastating desert locust outbreak in East Africa. OCHA said the Horn of Africa has been hit by the worst invasion of desert locusts in 25 years, posing a threat to food security to the population in East Africa that is already experiencing a high degree of food insecurity.
This desert locust is among the most dangerous migratory pests in the world. A single locust can travel 150 kilometers and eat its own weight in food, about 2 grams each day. A small swarm can consume the equivalent of food for 35,000 people in one day. They reproduce rapidly, and if left unchecked, the current numbers could grow 500 times by June. We are trying to address the situation before it becomes extremely bad. It's an outbreak that is covering East Africa, the Horn of Africa. It has also been noted in Southwest Asia, and the Red Sea is the worst of its kind in 25 years for Ethiopia and Somalia. It is also the worst Kenya has seen for 70 years. The impacts in these countries are particularly acute as pasture and crops are being wiped out in communities that were already facing food shortages.
Let's head now to Ethiopia, where Mustafa Mohamed Omar began demanding justice after his uncle disappeared and continued despite threats to his mother and his sister and the killing of his brother. He is now in charge of Ethiopia's sprawling Somali region. The former activist and aid worker has 7 months before people can vote on his reforms.
Mustafa Mohamed Omar is now in charge of Ethiopia's Somali region that is also known as Ogaden. The former activist and aid worker has 7 months before his people vote on his reforms. Prime Minister Abiy appointed 46-year-old Mustafa, whom he made president of the Eastern Somali region in August 2018. The region has rich natural gas resources and an impoverished population. It's been racked by violence amid a government crackdown on the separatist Ogaden National Liberation Front, ONLF, active since 1984.
You have to praise the regional president. You have to say there is peace and development in Somali region, or else we are going to take an action against you, member of your family. We will rape your sister. we'll kill your mom. The threats were changing from rape, from killing, but generally around these areas. So I was in Mogadishu at the time, working for the UN. And when the killing happened, yeah, it was a very difficult time.
Abiy unbanned the ONLF in return for a promise to engage in peaceful politics. Now, Mustafa is dismantling structures that rights groups say were used to imprison, torture, and kill thousands of people.
Many people have now feel that they are free, that the injustice is no longer there. So that perhaps is one positive thing, but I think we have not done much in terms of prosecuting those who were violating people's rights. So in that regard, a lot needs to be done, including for my family.
Mustafa hopes the August elections will unify the country and direct resources to neglected regions. Authorities last week set August 16 as a date for Ethiopia's landmark free elections promised by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The polls will be a litmus test of whether Abiy has won over a population traumatized by decades of repression and ongoing ethnic and political bloodshed.
Getting around in the Rwandan capital Kigali is best done by moto or motorcycle, a form of transportation common in African countries. But in Rwanda, the profession of motor driver has been dominated by men, not only leading to potentially dangerous moments for women using the transport, but also excluding them from gaining economic power. Now, one company is slowly trying to change that, employing the first female motor drivers in Rwanda.
The sight of motorcycle taxis or motos driven by men zooming through the traffic in Rwanda's capital, Kigali, is not unusual, but seeing women riders is rare. Inexpensive and fast, motor taxis are the main mode of transportation in Kigali, especially as a way to escape the city's rush hour traffic. "21-year-old Lois Karagaya is amongst a growing group of women riders, breaking the mold in an industry that has been dominated by men.
At the beginning, people would refuse to ride with us and would say that they have never heard of a woman riding motorcycles, that it was impossible. But people have now grown used to us, and some customers even recommend us to their friends.
The women say the opportunity to handle the motors does not only provide them with employment, but also gives them an opportunity to become financially independent. Some of the women motor drivers say they can get between 15 to 20 passengers a day, which translates to 14 and 19 USD a day.
This job has been very important for me because it helps me take care of my children and also helps me keep a roof over my head and gives me enough money to pay for my children's school fees.
Well, that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke. Bye for now.